Thank you. Thank you. Hey, could I see a show of hands, please? How many of you in this room would like to look better, travel the world, and double your current income? Yes! I can help you with none of those things. Let me ask you this. How many of you would like to feel better, probably live longer, and have more sustained energy throughout your workday? I can help you with all of those things. I was speaking at a MetLife meeting. In the event brochure, next to my picture and program description, was a listing for another speaker. Joel was a financial planner who was a top producer. His photo showed him on his sailboat doing what he loved most when he wasn't on the job. But Joel didn't make it to that meeting. He died 1 week before from a heart attack. He left a wife and 2 children. Joel was just 44. You know, a simple Google search will reveal many, many stories just like this. Individuals in your profession who paid too high of a price for their success. On December 8th of 1978, I was away at school working on my undergraduate degree in nutrition. It was 5 minutes after midnight. I was in bed. My phone rang. It was my pastor calling from back home. Now, this was unusual. He had never called me while I was away at school, much less in the middle of the night. He said, "David, you need to come home. It's your dad. He's in the hospital." So the next morning, I got dressed, got in my 1971 Gremlin. How many of you know what a Gremlin is? Raise your hand. A fine, fine American automobile. Here I am next to it. Fortunately, I was able to find a suit that matched my car. That's not easy to do. I made the 100-mile drive back to my hometown, but by the time I got there, my dad had died from complications of a heart attack. He wasn't overweight, he wasn't a smoker, and he wasn't a couch potato either. But he made one mistake. He assumed that because he felt everything was fine, it was okay. It wasn't. That one event changed my entire life. It's one of the reasons I do what I do. It's why I'm here talking to you today. I've spent the last 35 years helping people avoid what happened to my dad. This is my dad. His name was David Meinz. He was a good provider for my mom and sister and me. We were living the average American family life. It was good. And then one day, he just died. He was 56 years old. My mom became a widow at 52. 52 is too young to be a widow, would you agree? I was just 24. My little sister was just 16. You know, it's hard enough trying to figure out life when you're a teenager, even more so when you lose a parent. Yes, there was money in the bank. There was insurance. My mom got benefits from his pension. That's all wonderful. I'm sure you've taken correct steps to provide for your family too. But you know what? At his funeral, that's not what we were thinking about. We wanted him. I was just 24 when my dad died. I didn't know anything back then that could help him. But in those 40 years or so since then, I've learned some things. I wasn't able to help my dad, but I'd like to think that I've been able to help my mom. And here's my mom at age 97. She looks pretty good, don't you think? As I work with those in your field, something I consistently see is that the stresses they face on a daily basis are taking a great toll. The price of success often comes at the expense of their physical health. They struggle with eating habits that are not the best, alcohol consumption that just adds more calories, and a number on the scale that just keeps going in one direction. And most of them have heard stories just like you've heard here today. And they just silently hope it doesn't happen to them. You know, surely the goal of life isn't simply to have enough money to someday pay all your medical expenses. Surely after all those years of work, you should be able to relax, do what you want, and be healthy enough to enjoy it all. As I've gone through life, I've often found it ironic how many people strive for personal wealth, career success, and financial security, only to ignore one of their most important possessions, their personal health. When it finally occurs to them later in life what their mixed up priorities have cost them, they discover that their wealth can buy all the sick care in the world but not restore the health they so much desire. Hey, everything's related. Yes, it's important to be healthy, but life isn't near as much fun if you're broke. You need money, but it's not of much value if you're sick. It has always seemed clear to me that financial and physical health are closely related. I'm not here today to show you how to make money. I'm here for people who already are making money but want to live long and well enough to enjoy the fruits of all their labor. You all are in the financial world. You're the financial experts. You know a lot more about finances than I do. You plan for the future. You help people with a strategy so their money never runs out. But do you have a plan? I mean, a very specific plan of action to make sure your health doesn't run out before your money does. That's what I'm here for today. There is a plan to help you do that. There's several parts to the plan, but it's not difficult to understand. I'm here to help you take the first step.
Now, this whole topic can get confusing, especially when it comes to weight control, especially when it comes to exercise too. For example, this next man is confused about exercise. He's confused about exercise. See? He's confused. His dog is skinny, that's good. These next two guys are confused about exercise as well. They're taking the escalator to the fitness center. They're confused. And here's something I bet you don't know. You should never swallow bubble gum during aerobics class. You should never swallow bubble gum during aerobics class. Otherwise, this could happen. So don't do that.
And by the way, while exercise is absolutely essential for good health, it by itself does not equal weight loss. Diet is where the potential is for losing weight. You don't make a six-pack in the gym. You make it in the kitchen. Once again, your number one health priority is to prevent a surprise heart attack or stroke. And just so you know, a man in his 40s or 50s who needs an ED medication like Viagra or Cialis is at a 50% increased risk for an unexpected heart attack. Because you see, this disease, atherosclerosis, what we used to call hardening of the arteries, doesn't just affect the arteries of the heart and brain, but it first shows up in the smallest arteries of the body, like those in the penis. A man in his 40s or 50s who takes an erectile dysfunction medicine thinks he has a sexual problem. What he probably has is a vascular problem. By the way, the Food and Drug Administration has warned physicians not to prescribe Viagra for erectile dysfunction with Rogaine for hair loss. Otherwise, this could happen. So remember, we're looking at the three factors to high-level health. The first is to avoid a surprise heart attack or stroke. The second is to eat food closer to the way it grows. You know what we're talking about here: fruits and vegetables, a protein source like chicken, fish, or beans, whole grains, and a calcium source like milk or one of the many milk substitutes out there today. So let's take a look at some real foods. So here's Wonder Bread. If you grew on this, it's a wonder. So let's look at this product and see about it. You know, one of the main things about grains is fiber. That's what we want to get, is fiber, especially since it's so much carbohydrate. We want to get plenty of fiber. But Wonder Bread doesn't have much fiber in it. Now, how do you know, other than just looking on the label, and that doesn't tell you much either sometimes, how can you know if it's got a lot of fiber in it or not? You can do the David Meinz fiber test. When you're in the grocery store, find a product you're not sure of and simply apply just a little bit of pressure like this, just a little bit of pressure. See, that's low fiber. That's what that is. That's low fiber. A lot of people won't eat white bread. They want wheat bread. But what most people don't realize is wheat bread is white bread. It's exactly the same thing. Wheat bread only tells you the name of the grain it comes from. There's no rice, there's no barley, there's no oats. This only came from the plant called wheat. Would you agree that Wonder Bread is wheat bread? Sure. It sure is. Could they color it brown with some caramel coloring? That's exactly what they do. And a lot of people eat wheat bread thinking they're got the real thing. Not even close. What you're looking for is three little words: 100% whole wheat. That's the real thing. That's got the entire grain of wheat, the endosperm, the germ, and the bran as it grows, close to the way it grows. This is 100% whole wheat. You know, serving size is important. Everybody likes Rice Krispie treats, right? Everybody likes Rice Krispie treats, yep. So now you can get these little bars, Rice Krispie treats. You can get them in a box now, too. Have you seen this now? It's like a small coffee table. You could have lunch on this thing. That's one big sheet of Rice Krispie treats. Have you seen these candy bars? Fun size, fun size. That's not fun. That's not fun. This is fun. There you go. Now that's fun. Snickers by the yard. Here's Haagen-Dazs. Now Haagen-Dazs is Swedish for heart disease. That's what that means. Heart disease, all right? And we look on the back, and again, people think it's the fat, but it's not. It's the carbohydrate in here, and this one has got 20 grams of carbohydrate per serving. It's always per serving, and they say this container serves 4 adults. 4 adults right here. That's right, you and 3 of your closest anorexic friends can have quite a party right here. Fat Boy ice cream sandwiches. Finally, truth in advertising, ladies and gentlemen. What we've been waiting for. Eat food closer to the way it grows. That's the lesson. Ask yourself, does a Twinkie grow that way? No. These highly processed foods usually are loaded with salt, too. 2,000 milligrams of sodium is what you get in 1 level teaspoon of salt. The recommended healthy target for adults for sodium is 1,500. The average American takes in 3,500 milligrams of sodium. And what about sea salt? I hear people ask a lot that. And they say, well, we don't use regular salt. We use sea salt or kosher salt or Himalayan pink salt. As far as I know, salt is salt is salt. It's a chemical called sodium chloride. It either comes from seaweed beds, that are seawater beds that are allowed to evaporate, or it's mined out of the ground. And it doesn't matter if it has trace minerals in it or not. You don't use salt for trace minerals. You get your trace minerals from your food. So here's a container of sea salt. I took a picture of it while I was at a restaurant. So if you look at this product here, I don't know anything different about it. It's salt as far as I know. I wanted to know what made the difference, so I looked on the side of the container. Here's what it says. Our sea salt comes from the water and salt beds of the Mediterranean and adds a bit of Europe to every meal. A bit of Europe. So if you're low in a continent, how many of you are incontinent? Can I see your hands? Can I? Yeah? Okay. And by the way, contrary to what a lot of people think, eating healthy food closer to the way it grows doesn't have to cost a lot. Yes, fresh produce can seem expensive when you compare it to chips and soda. But based on their contribution to your health, fruits and vegetables are a bargain. Did you know the average household spends $850 a year on soda? $850 a year. That's an average of 43 gallons per person per year in the United States. I don't drink soda at all, so that means someone out there is drinking my 43 gallons. Oh, I might have a 7-Up with some friends at a party, but I don't have that many friends. By the way, juice is not a health food. How many have ever made fresh squeezed orange juice? Anybody ever make fresh squeezed orange juice? How many oranges do you have to go through to make a good-sized glass of orange juice? Let's make some. 4, 5 oranges, maybe more? Well, David, what about all that vitamin C I'm getting? Well, here's something you don't know. Your body can only use the vitamin C from 2 oranges. After that, you urinate it out. Your body does not store vitamin C. If you take vitamin C as a supplement, spread it out over the day. Don't take more than 200 milligrams at one time. You'll just waste the extra. And there's a lot of sugar in 5 oranges, but that's natural sugar. Doesn't matter. As far as your body is concerned, sugar is sugar. It looks a lot like you had a Pepsi. What is juice missing that the whole fruit has in it? Fiber. When you eat food closer to the way it grows, it often comes with fiber to help you control the amount of calories you take in. So if I were to give you all an orange right now, you'd probably say, thanks, that was good. But then what if I said, no, I want you to eat 4 more? You'd say, I'd never eat 5 oranges at one time, but you'll drink 5 oranges. Eat food close to the way it grows. So my mom came down to visit me in Florida a while back. And she said, I want to see some orange groves. So I took her out. There's not many orange groves in Central Florida anymore, so we had to drive a little way to get out in the country. And she said, well, there's some over there. Pull over. Okay, so I pulled over, and she said, I want to get some oranges. Well, I said, Mom, those aren't ours. That's private property. She said, I would just want to take a couple of oranges. I said, Mom, you really shouldn't. So she got out of the car, and she started going and picking some oranges. And I said, Mom, that's kind of stealing. You're not supposed to do that. Oh, David, just keep the engine running. That's what she said. So here she is stealing some oranges right there. So you always get caught. You always get caught. Yeah.
Now, the problem with the bathroom scale is that it just tells you weight. It doesn't tell you what that weight is made up of. As I said, it could be muscle. You never want to lose muscle. It could be fat, and that's what you want to lose. And it could be water, but that's temporary. You never want to lose muscle. You never really need to lose water either. Fat on your body is the problem. But watch this. You could have a 6-foot man, 200 pounds, solid muscle. And the doctor will look on the height and weight table for 6 foot and see 200 pounds and say, you're overweight. Really? Where is this guy supposed to lose weight? He's solid muscle. He doesn't have any fat on him. On the other hand, you could have a 6 foot, 180 pound, middle-aged businessman who's got a gut hanging over his belt right here. And the doctor looks at 6 foot, 180 pounds and says, not bad. Clearly, your eyes will tell you one of these men is in good shape and the other isn't. But the height and weight table has some real problems because the scale has some real limitations. We've got something better than the height and weight table, and it's the tape measure. I would encourage all of you to get a tape measure and stop using your bathroom scale, because the tape measure is going to tell you where the real problem is, and if you carry it here, that's the problem. Ladies, you might not like it back here, but that's not going to hurt you nearly as much. Consider, if you would, this. The greater your waist size, the greater your risk of these problems in your future. High blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, metabolic syndrome, which is a whole bunch of cholesterol risk factors together. And look at that, can you believe it? Asthma. Your risk for asthma goes up the greater your waist size. I never would have put those two together. And chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. By the way, your waist size is a much better predictor of your future health than the old height and weight and even the fancy BMI, body mass index, that so many people like. Your waist size is better. Now, here are the numbers I'd like you to write down. Ladies, you don't want your numbers to go above 35 inches or 90 centimeters for your waist. Gentlemen, for you, you don't want to go over 40 inches or 102 centimeters. When it does, you've got one of those diseases I just mentioned in your future. Now, this brings up another question as well. How do you measure waist size? How do you measure waist size? Sitting where you are right now, I want you to see if you all can find 2 bones right here. Can you all find 2 bones right at the top of your pelvis? It's called the iliac crest. Now, if you can't find those bones, that's a risk factor right there. Press harder. Now find those 2 bones and then measure at that point parallel to the floor all the way around your waist. I want you to compare that to your measurements that we just talked about here as well in terms of the number for women or for the numbers for men. One more thing, ladies, you know it's hard to lose hip fat. I don't have to tell you that. There is one way in research that's pretty clear that shows you how you can take hip fat off, but you're not going to like it. You can take hip fat off by breastfeeding. And some of you women are thinking, that ship has sailed. That train has left the station. Grandma, put that baby down. There's an image that'll stick in your mind tonight.
What happened to my dad was the inspiration for me to take control of my health. It was my why. I didn't want to end up like my dad. My grandfather and my great-grandfather all died of cardiovascular disease too. But I had a choice. I could have just repeated the same thing that killed all the men in my family, just took it easy. Don't worry about it. I mean, you got to die of something anyway, right? But I didn't take that attitude. I didn't want to end up like them. So I studied. I was able to go to college and I got a master's degree. And I applied what I know to my personal life. And now, even though I have cardiovascular disease, yes, I have it too. It's under control. Listen, even if you have heart disease, we now know how to keep you from ever having a heart attack or stroke, ever. I know that's a bold statement, but that's where the science is now. That's big news, and that application of knowledge is wisdom. I assume you have a personal financial plan, but do you have a physical plan? I don't mean you just go for an annual physical checkup. I don't mean you think everything is all right just because your physician told you you're doing okay. My dad was doing okay too. If you are financially secure, good. But then what? If you retire between 65 and 70, you may still have another 20 or 25 years of life left. What if you're not well enough to enjoy that last third of your life? That's a long time to sit at home and watch Wheel of Fortune. What does that retirement money mean then? Make sure you have the quality of life that will allow you to fulfill your dreams. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Before you can finally be successful in making the changes you need, you must first define the why of what you want to change. I'm amazed at the number of people that won't improve their health for their own benefit. They just won't do it. But they'll do it for their kids or their grandkids. That's fine with me. I don't care what your motivation is. You just need to identify what it is. Maybe it's to finally get to travel around the country in an RV with your spouse, see America. Maybe it's to take a cruise around the world. Or maybe your why is to see your kids and grandkids grow up, to see them get married, to be successful. I've found that for most people, their why is their family. When all is said and done, for most people, their family is their most valuable possession. God and family first, everything else second. So for those of you out there with children and grandchildren, let me speak for them for a moment. We need you. We want to grow up with you. Don't leave us early. Stay healthy for us. Let me ask you this. What if, in addition to getting yourself healthier, you started helping your clients stay healthier too? You not only help assure their future financial health, but their future physical health as well. Would that make your business stand out from the competition? You can do that. I can help you do that. You have two choices. You can have $100 billion in the bank. $100 billion. You're almost as rich as Oprah. But you're in hospice with stage 4 cancer. Or you're absolutely healthy and vibrant, brimming with energy and full of life, but you have no money in the bank and you'll only ever make $40,000 a year for the rest of your life. That's not much money today, but you will be able to at least pay your bills. You'll get by. $100 billion in the bank and stage 4 cancer, or $40,000 a year, but vibrant and healthy. Which would you choose? Which is more valuable, wealth or health? You can have both, but health must be your first goal. For without it, the wealth is nothing more than paper and possessions.
My keynote is based on my book, Wealthy, Healthy, and Wise: How Financial Service Professionals Can Make Sure Their Health Lasts as Long as Their Money Does. Isn't it ironic how many people spend most of their lives working for that paycheck, only to find they don't have the health to enjoy it when they finally have the opportunity to do so? And from your perspective, their lack of high-level health during their working years affects their performance on the job, too. If you're involved in planning an upcoming meeting, I'll be glad to send you a complimentary copy. Just contact my office. Now, I don't talk to financial services groups about how to make money. I help people who already know how to make money, but want to live long and well enough to enjoy the money they make. What I share can literally save the life of some people in your audience. Can you get a better value than that? We'll talk about real-world issues that affect your people's health and show them exactly what they can do to decrease stress and increase performance and productivity. We can start anywhere from just a keynote or breakout to an entire full-year program that can actually change your organizational culture to one that promotes wellness and improved productivity.